Welcome back to Astrological Intentions. I'm Alex, your host, and my mother, Sandy, the astrologer.
Hi, Sandy here.
She is going to be taking us through this week's most important astrological transits.
So we're talking about the sun moving into Virgo. It's just at the last day and a half of Leo, so say goodbye to that, because Wednesday, the 22nd, late in the evening, it will move into Virgo. And then we have on Saturday the sun in trine to both Uranus
and
a grand
Saturn.
Trine. It's a grand trine in Earth. And then Monday morning, the 27th of August, Mars stations to move direct. Finally. And then we talk about the talisman that I made last week and the 2 talismans that are coming up for this week and the rituals and ceremonies that you can do around that. So you're going to want your pen and paper for that so that you can write this down.
Also, Mercury retrograde really gave us the 1-2. So we want to discuss what just happened during our Mercury retrograde.
So stay tuned. We're going to go through this a little bit.
You got the keys. You got the keys. You got the keys. You got the keys.
Let's begin with the first one.
So we're in our final 2 days of Sun in Leo. And we're about to move into late Wednesday night on August 22nd, we're moving into the sign of Virgo.
Sun in Virgo. So all of our Virgo people.
Right. It's a mutable earth sign. So this is, a place where we get to use our critical eye, where we get to be in service to others. We get to use our analytical processes. We are discerning. This is organization and a regular routine, which is always interesting to me because I always get this feeling of, okay, you and I were kind of like doing some cleaning earlier because it's time to start this organization, putting things into order, going into a regular routine.
Yeah.
And that's always the season of school. Whether we're in elementary school, middle school, or in college, it's always the season that begins this regular routine. So, we'll welcome it in. It's been an interesting summer with, 2 of the personal planets in retrograde.
And isn't also Virgo the harvester?
It is.
So it's the virgin that has these big bundles of wheat where she has the discerning eye of what is good harvest and what's bad. So kind of sifting through and using that critical eye to decipher what is good, what is bad, what I'm keeping, what I'm leaving behind.
Right. What is good for me? Because Virgo also has to do with what health issues. So what we're putting into our body, the things that we're doing on a regular basis that equate to optimal health. So that's also, a vision that's coming in here. We're on Tuesday right now, August 21st, and this comes in late tomorrow night on the 22nd.
At what time?
11:09 p.m., and this is Central Time. We're in Chicago now. The other thing I want to talk about is the sun trines Uranus. Now, this is it's a trine. It's 120 degrees. So it's a very beautiful time to shine through change because sun is our warmth, our light, our primary essence. In essence, it's our ego is easily assimilated with this planet of Uranus who likes change. So we get to allow and we ask the sun for support to help us through this these times of change.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And this is happening on Saturday. And so this is a grand Earth trine because it's also trining Saturn. And, Saturn is the planet of limitations, restrictions. detours, delays. However, it gives us really good grounding. It's always asked us for a foundation, a stability. And, it's in its own sign of Capricorn. Yes, it's in retrograde. We have till the first week in September. So we'll hold that conversation when Saturn starts moving forward about September 6th. But, here in this grand trine means that there are 3 planets that are in equal parts of 120 degrees, 120 degrees, and 120 degrees. And if you think that a circle, the horoscope, is 360 degrees, that we've got these perfectly placed 3 planets, the Sun, Uranus, and Saturn, in this pyramid.
In the 3 earth signs.
Yeah, in the 3 earth signs. So, here we can ask for stability. It's a time to be grounded. And this happens on Saturday, the 25th.
And you said Saturn was in Capricorn.
Yes.
And tell me where the other planets are.
So
in the
Uranus
sign?
is in Taurus, the other earth sign. And then the Sun, because we just talked about it moving into Virgo. So these are all early degrees. These hit at 2 degrees of each of the earth signs. So,
awesome. So I really do see a huge blend between all of these transits of just getting grounded, getting to a level basis, a balanced basis where we can create change that is going to
serve us.
Yeah.
Right. It will serve us. So we'll ask and allow the support for the changing times, right? Yeah. The last time we had just the Sun in a trine to Saturn was back at end of April 29th. And that's when the Sun was in Taurus. But we won't get this again this year. This Sun comes around, obviously once a year. So we get this Sun trine Uranus once a year. We get Sun trine Saturn, and actually we get it twice a year because it's moving into an applying trine or a separating trine. But the Saturn Uranus, we do not get that once a year. In fact, that's very infrequent that we get that blend of Saturn, the stable restriction, and Uranus, the let's go for change that can cause some, chaotic, unexpected, sudden change. So
a lot of
I often
disagreement there between the planets.
I often use the metaphor of flying a kite. And we've all done that in our lives where we've been the anchor on the ground, right? We got our feet planted on the ground. We're holding the string and the wind is taking the kite, whipping it right into the air, sometimes down like it's going to crash down.
We hope there's wind, right?
And that kind of looks like, the freedom to go be the change, to allow currents to take us in certain different ways for that freedom and the change that we want. But then there's Saturn holding the string and will only allow us to go so far.
And I even heard you say certain different ways, which is also a very Saturn and Uranus way to explain that.
Right. Good call. Yeah. Certain. Right?
Certain is Saturn.
Yeah.
And
different.
Saturn has a lot of those hard T bits to it. And also Uranus, just being the change, being the...
different.
Being the thing that's flying in the air and you're not really sure how because you can't really see it.
Right. In fact, when we talk about talisman making, this is certainly one of the ones I've picked for this week that we'll be talking about. But let's talk about the next thing. I think, are we all ready to have Mars station direct?
Yes, and Mercury.
Oh my gosh.
It's been a rough one.
Well, Mercury we talked last week about because, yes, Mercury went direct on the 19th, just 2 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's a little slow, once it has to, move fast, to make the turn. where it's slow stations, where it makes the turn, and now it starts, it has to pick up speed. It doesn't go, what's that, 0 to 60? It doesn't go that fast, so it needs a little bit of a momentum gathering, and it's certainly starting to gather momentum now. So, so the Mercury is moving forward, and then on the 27th, which is in 6 days from now, our lovely Mars, which we're not used to, going retrograde.
Right, every 2 years.
Yeah, every 2 years for 2 months, and it got us the entire summer, from the end of June to the end of August. So,
it's kind of been one of those...
energy is limited.
Draining summers.
Right? And so, it does lucky us for any of the Capricorns. It does station direct at 28 degrees of Capricorn. So anyone that has a birthday January 28th, the 27th, 28th, 29th, this Mars has a large effect on you because it's stationing, it's slowing down and staying there for a few days right on your sun. And I want to bring that up, as I mentioned to several of the people that are listening, that, I'll bring in a birth date every now and then to see if you know anyone that has this birth date, if maybe it's you or a family member. And whether it's for the ill or for good, we'll talk about what that energy is. And Mars being one of the malefics, we have to be careful with Mars. So we get this Mars sense of we get to start to move forward again. We get to develop a 2-year plan. That's our topic next week, about our 2-year plan. But the birthday time, that January 28th and right around there, it's just a time to be aware and to be careful of this extra dose of energy, because this wants to give you more physical energy. However, it also wants to give you more ego-driven energy. So we want to use this effectively and efficiently, because it's very useful if we do that for a planned purpose. If not, we may derive the malefic attitude of Mars, which are, anger, fights, accidents, things that you're not paying attention to, because if you're not using the energy properly, that the energy will use you. So I just bring that to the attention of those birthdays. So exerted
in healthy ways, exerted in a one kind of linear focused way?
True, because it's in Capricorn, which is, that Earth cardinal sign, and Capricorn does naturally rule the 10th house of career. So to do something in the work arena, something in the career, pulling up a plan that has action orientation to it. Does that make sense, Alex?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we still have our Venus in beautiful Libra. I want to bring that to mention because we should. We like it when she's there.
Speak loving thoughts to all of your family, friends, maybe some coworkers that you like.
So let's talk about the talisman. You know what? Let's talk about what a talisman is.
Oh yeah, have we discussed that yet?
Well, I think
we make them
everyone
all the time.
should know what it means, because it's certainly a word that we have heard, maybe know the context, maybe not. I once saw a beautiful yacht that had on the back of it, "My Talisman."
Oh,
and I
awesome.
should have taken a picture of it, because, you know what? As long as that boat was made at a certain time for a definite reason by a spirited creator.
To stay afloat.
God love that.
Buoyancy.
That owner. But a talisman is a personal art object. It needs to be made at a certain time for a definite reason by a creator. Now, the talisman I make are made of clay. It's a polymer clay. I've been a millefiori artist for 29 years, and that is that was my second career. I'm now in my third career of making astrological talisman. So, Alex, you had an interesting comment about talisman.
I did, yeah. I researched a little bit of the etymology of the word talisman. And basically, in ancient Greek, it meant telesma. I could be pronouncing this wrong, but it means the completion or the religious rite. And ultimately, it's about kind of creating something in a completed form that has to do with what we intend for ourselves. And in this like kind of very symbolic way where, and even when I was doing the research, there was a part in it that said, whoever is the talisman creator needs to be very aware of both symbolism as well as planetary alignment. And I just found that so interesting that this is such an ancient wisdom.
It really is so is Millefiori that you and I have been doing in our she beads, he beads business.
I always like to say that we use 3 ancient wisdoms. 1 being astrology, 2 being Millefiori, which Millefiori means 1,000 flowers. It's was first created in ancient Roman times for the creation of vases and beautiful pottery and jewelry, and usually made with glass. And that's how we make our beads. And then the 3rd has been talisman use, where that's, any of our clients that pick up a talisman, that is then what they're using is this talismanic energy.
Yeah,
of
a
using
tool. It's an aid.
Tool.
Yeah. It's a tool and an aid. So that's what a talisman is. And whether I have known this from a past life when I've done this work in the past, but just it's an energy that I use planetary alignment. It's true. Check. And I use my hands, and maybe we'll talk one day about, I'll bring on one of my astrologer that has done some readings for me that talks about the magic that my 29-degree Pisces sun possesses, which I didn't know it until, in the last 8 years that I had. I chose a time to be born when I had this 29-degree Pisces energy, and to use that in healing, artistic ways. So maybe we'll talk more about our charts here and there.
Yeah.
Kind of
we'll sprinkle it in.
Peppering it in.
We'll glitter it in.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about the talismans that either
the one I
did
made
last week.
Well, I talked about it last week. It was on Thursday, August 16th, and I started at. I made 3 bracelets. I was able to get this ascendant of Sagittarius on all 3 bracelets. So I started at 2:24 p.m. and I was done by 4:35. So this time frame, I took the energy of the Jupiter in a trine, exact trine to Neptune. Now, Jupiter was the ruler of the chart. Jupiter was in the 12th house, where it's the ancient ruler of the 12th, and it is now moving forward, and that was to have the courage to the courage to chase a dream. The affirmation, this is the prayer. The affirmation is the prayer that you say to yourself about yourself that is true, whether it is or not. The idea is to tell yourself link in a new story. And this story is, I recognize this flash of insight or intuition that confirms I'm on the right path. The pieces are falling into place. So that was the talisman I gave you last week, and I completed 3 of them. So 1 is already sold. So that woman, that client is off and running to chase her dream.
Exciting.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
So here's the 2 that are coming up this week. And, I want to talk about, if I'm making a talisman during these times, is as I give you these dates, times, and planetary alignments, and an intention, which is the goal, and the affirmation, which is the prayer or the mantra. You can use these, but maybe you do a ceremony, you do a ritual at this exact moment. Put it in your calendar, set your alarm. You may need your alarm for this next one.
Yeah, and even if ritual is kind of, too intimidating for you, even just a meditation, kind of sit in silence and harness that energy that you have.
Right. I mean, you could do this. I'll be given at least one a week. This week I'm given 2. So the first time I am using the Sun, trine Uranus, trine Saturn, with the moon in what's considered a kite pattern. So it's a grand trine, so it looks like a triangle, but the moon is sextile to Uranus and Saturn, so it looks like that kite. Interesting that I talked about a kite 5 minutes ago. And at the pinnacle of the kite is the moon here's the chart right here, is at 2 degrees, which is conjunct the royal star formaldehyde. So this is a really big, really big time. This is Sunday, August 26th. We both will be in Mont-Tremblant. Am I saying that right?
I think so.
Mont-Tremblant,
we'll find out.
Canada, just north of Montreal. And my time is at 5:55 a.m. This is Eastern time. So here in Chicago, that would be 6:55 a.m.
Good morning.
Yeah, and that's on a Sunday, so set your alarm. But here's the intention: to build a dream come true. The affirmation: I finally am able to formulate my inspired idea. This is something that I have visioned over and over again. It is happening in real life now.
Ooh.
Right? Quote, unquote. So use this energy. The moon's going to move pretty fast. And we are using the ascendant of Leo. So because it puts the sun within a 5-degree aspect to the rising sign. So even though the sun is in Virgo, we're still using the rulership of Leo. Because what rules Leo?
The sun.
Da, 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 da.
We brought it back to Astrology 101 because that was a little bit more involved. But all of our listeners, you're going to get this. You're going to get it.
The next one I've chosen that I'll be working on, and I have to make this exactly at this moment, is on Tuesday, August 28th. We're back in Evanston. When the moon is conjunct a fixed star, Shiat, and sextile this Mars station direct.
Can you say that star name again?
No, I can't, because you're laughing and you're making fun of me. But it's at a 29-degree Pisces location as the fixed star in the constellation. So this is sitting right on my sun at 29 degrees Pisces. So the intention for this, and this is at 8:46 a.m. 8:46 a.m., which is Central, Tuesday, August 28th. The intention to attract what is respected. The mantra: I intelligently pull in a situation or a person where I am respected for my strong will and courage. My mental game is on. I get to engage here with, the thinker, the mental image. So those are my two, talisman I'm making. That's my ritual. And actually what my ritual is, I've got I've got my phone alarms set a half hour in advance. My clays will be prepared, my cores, my razor blade, my sticks, my skewers, everything will be ready. I'll have my incense prepared, my candles, and go into exactly at this moment that I mentioned, and go into what I call Master John Douglas has a location repair meditation that that literally clears the room I'm in, clears me, clears the land I'm on, and brings clarity from any past negative force. So I do what's called a location repair, so that I'm clear, my house is clear, the location I'm at, because as we travel, we're going to be in somebody's house in Mont-Tremblant. So I have to clear all areas, including myself. So that's part of my ritual on all my talisman making.
I love it. I also know that meditation well. It's a great one.
So
we
our
use it a lot in
past-
our workshops.
Yes, we do. We do. In fact, you had the weekend off. Well, kind of, sort of not. No, that's right. You did some
Not
things.
really.
Well, you weren't doing an event. I was
Right.
at the local...
I had a small degree of work.
I was at the local Body, Mind, Spirit Expo held here in Skokie, Illinois. It's the show that's the closest to us. So it's literally 10, 15-minute drive. And it's a place where I get to see a lot of my friends, my people that always are like, wow, we haven't seen you in a year. So it's my one show that I really enjoy.
Yeah.
And actually, it's funny because it was at this show that I was bold enough to grab, I'd say, can I see your phone?
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't grab it out of their bag or purse. But
Because we have a little bit of pull marketing where, we'll kind of invite people in and just discuss what we do. And we have so many different aspects to our company. And
so I was pushing the podcast, because you had made this beautiful marketing piece, the sign, and people saying, oh, you're doing this. I said, yeah. And they were like wanting to take a picture of it because you have directions on this signage.
How to sign up for our podcast.
And if you don't know, you don't know. So literally I'm thinking, oh my God, if these people are anything like me, procrastinators,
or sometimes just forgetful. I remember there's so many times in a day when I'm like, oh, I got to remember to do that. Never happens.
So I grabbed their phone. I said, just give me your phone because I know how to do it now. I'm a, double millennia. I think that's what I'm called now.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
We'll do it.
And I literally take their iPhone or Android and I just boosh, 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 boosh. And I've yeah, just like that.
Is that what it sounds like?
Yeah, when I do it, it does.
Push. Okay.
And automatically subscribe them. So, welcome for you that allowed me to grab your phone and hit this a couple times, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh.
Yeah, you just now are stealing phones to have people subscribe to our podcast.
Yeah, I feel comfortable with that
Whatever
now.
means necessary.
Yes, looking for subscribers. So, and our next show starts tomorrow at we begin our trek at 7:30 a.m.
Our on the
tomorrow.
road show, because this is our on the air show. So our on the road show to Mont-Tremblant. And it's, I'm trying to. It's just, I think, north of Montreal. And mainly French speaking, so we had to redo all of our signage in French. So I'm getting a little crash course on how to speak French. And let's see. It's another Wanderlust Festival, and we love our Wanderlust festivals. I mean, truly. So we'll be doing workshops every day, and we're going to be talking about the moon signs. I did post up on Instagram a little kind of showing of what we do at our workshops.
You did a really nice video, didn't you?
Yeah. I edited it and got it up on the website. Thanks, Mercury, not being in retrograde anymore. So yeah, we're going to be there for 4 days, and
well, probably really 6 days, but we're going to be teaching for 4. Yeah. So if you're come by, I'll be doing 30-minute readings along with teaching the moon signs, the moon phases in everybody's chart. So
yes,
that's one
and
of
all
our
of our
workshops.
workshops are sold out.
Yeah,
we did have a couple openings, but a couple weeks ago those were gone, unfortunately.
Yay. So it sounds like another busy weekend, which we're all ready for. The last week of Mars in retrograde.
Yes.
Mom-daughter talk. You want to do this? You want to start this?
Sure, yeah. let's see. I think we wanted to talk about just how crazy this Mercury retrograde was for us. I mean, I think it was like, a couple years ago that on Instagram I was like, oh, this is a great idea. I'm going to start like a retro rant so that everyone can, because there's so many people on a daily basis that complain about Mercury retrograde. And we aren't really those types of people. We don't blame everything on Mercury retrograde. We're not, oh, well, it's Mercury retrograde.
But
we give it importance.
Well, right. We pay attention to it. Anyone that has a Mercury retrograde in their natal chart isn't that affected by it. And certainly the people
you
like
don't have
me.
A Mercury retrograde.
No, but I have Mercury in Pisces.
Which is...
acts like it.
Mercury on crutches.
I mean, Mercury in Pisces is like, yeah, la, 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 la. But,
Yeah. And so basically, this is our ability to just complain about how crappy this Mercury retrograde was for us. Not only have we needed to replace both of our phones, we need to replace our computers as well.
Yikes.
And the intercom system.
What was that about the other day?
All of a sudden, the speakers started screaming, and it was just this loud message of everything.
Literally, when I came home from the show that day, literally the whole speaker system, the intercom system was laying out like we had like a mechanic there or something.
Yeah, parts of the CD player, the motor just kept going over and over and over, which I think was freaking out the speakers, and it was a terrible sound. So I had to take off all of the little facades off of the intercom system, expose all the motherboards and all the things that I don't know anything about, and call the service tech guy. And he pretty much walked me through how to take out the CD player, how to do all of these crazy things that I've never done, which was great. And even to do that during a Mercury retrograde, it was just kind of extracting out that motor that wasn't working. Also, our computers were kind of freaking out. Yours was jumping up and down.
Jumping up and down and being like about 102 degrees.
Yeah.
It was so hot. I would literally, Alex, the day that you saw me put a cold rag on my computer.
Oh, no, not just a cold. It was a wet, cold rag.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's how you get a cold.
Okay.
Cold water on a rag because it had a fever or something.
You were treating the computer as if it were your baby.
Because it is everyone's babies, right?
Yeah, maybe just give it an ice bath next time. That would be a good idea. So,
but that's done. We're done.
Right,
Everybody's
right.
done with Mercury retrograde. Let us know your stories.
Yeah.
What issues did anyone have during this last time? Now, we won't get that again. Shall we say even? It's the week before Thanksgiving. We'll talk about that then, but we don't have it for a while. Mm-hmm. And it's the one planet that goes retrograde
often.
Every 4 months. Mm-hmm. So,
we should be used to it by now, but,
And usually Mercury retrograde doesn't affect me. It's just that, in my computer and I needed a new phone and I don't like this new phone because it's not my old one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and every time that I go in to get, phones repaired or computers checked out, I always ask them, do you ever see an uptick during Mercury retrograde? And some know what I'm even talking about. Others have no clue.
I think that guy, we just passed him over. We're like, okay. We both did the eye contact and go, let's just get our phones. Next week, we'll talk about Mars moving forward in our mother-daughter talk about our next 2-year plan.
Yeah.
Our strategies with it and our past Mars retrograde. We've given you the information for this week. Go out and have a lovely week. Things are moving, feeling a little bit more secure and more grounded.
Yes.
This last week in August is going to be a nice one.
Also, keep in touch with us on social media. We have Instagram, that's at intention_beads. Facebook, you can find us at Intention Beads. Check out our website, intentionbeads.com. Also, if you're in the market...
Something special.
Yeah, this is a special offer. We rarely discount any type of any type of items or readings. So this is exclusive to our podcast subscribers. If you're interested in having an astrology reading with the one and only Sandy Rueve, then go to our website, intentionbeads.com/podcast. There you're going to find a button, and that button will bring you to the scheduler where you can get $20 off a reading, an hour-long reading. The password that you need to enter is Jazz Fuzz. It's our podcast producer. So Jazz Fuzz, JAZZFUZZ. It's all one word, all lowercase, and you want to go to intentionbeads.com/podcast. Thanks again.
See you there.
Ciao.
Bye.